Accidents in football stadiums are fortunately not common, and improved safety standards have practically eradicated them in first world countries. However, these events have occurred in history, and along with those well-known tragedies such as Hillsborough and Heysel, both involving Liverpool fans, there are lesser-known tragedies, and these will be covered in this video. Kathmandu Stadium Disaster. The ninth deadliest stadium disaster in history occurred in Nepal's capital in the late afternoon on March the 12th, 1998. The spectators were watching the final of the Tribhuvan Challenge Shield between Jangpur Cigarette Factory and the Bangladeshi side Mukti Jodha at the Dasharath Stadium. This stadium held most of Nepal's domestic and international games, was open on three sides with just one grandstand. Moments after the Bangladeshi side took the lead, a hailstorm erupted over the stadium. The storm had been forecasted, and the Nepalese Football Association had considered calling the game off. However, as the sky had cleared in the early morning, they ignored the weather warning and proceeded with the match. The storm unleashed winds of up to 80 kilometres an hour and unusually large hailstones, sending 30,000 fans fleeing towards the covered grandstand. After being beaten back by the police, fans then piled towards the exit. The doors all remained locked, thus causing a huge crush that led to 93 deaths. Only 70 were reported, however, and 100 further injuries. In the aftermath of the incident, an investigation was launched. Despite the stadium having 15 exits, all were locked during the game to stop fans getting in without a ticket, which was a common occurrence. Also, each threshold was only wide enough for one person to enter. This led to a string of resignations by higher powers under pressure from the public, but no compensation was ever paid, and the government didn't hold itself accountable. October 16th disaster. This event occurred in the Central American nation of Guatemala at the country's national stadium, also home to local football club Comunicaciones FC, incidentally the most successful club in Guatemala. Named Estadio Nacional de Leto Guamunch Flores after the Guatemalan athlete and national hero who won multiple international events in the 1950s, including the Boston Marathon. After 46 years without incident, the stadium played host to one of the worst disasters in a stadium of all time. In the build-up to a qualifier for the 1998 World Cup, a human avalanche, an event that is every bit as gruesome as it sounds, caused the death of 83 people and injured almost 150 more. The cause was pretty evident, as more tickets had been sold than the maximum capacity of 47,500. Even this number was described to be as a maximum congested seating limit, with the actual capacity listed at 37,500. Combined with this, the circulation of counterfeit tickets meant there was likely north of 50,000 people in the stadium that day. After the event, not too dissimilar to the mistakes that caused the infamous Hillsborough disaster, the Guatemalan president Alvaro Arzu took to the pitch and announced the game was to be called off. Although, like the Nepalese disaster, no one was prosecuted, and nor did the government take responsibility, handing the blame to the event organisers. Changes were made to the stadium after FIFA recommendations. These modifications included converting it into an all-seater in the early 2000s, and so for the first time an official capacity could actually be calculated. The current capacity is half of those in the ground during the disaster, standing at 26,000. Orkney disaster. In South Africa's second worst stadium disaster, a different trigger caused the event. The stadium was overfilled by 7,000 more than its official capacity. However, this wouldn't have been a problem if the fans of Orlando Pirates didn't start attacking the Kaiser Chiefs fans with missiles and knives after a questionable goal decision was upheld by the referee. The main problem in this incident was the two sets of fans weren't segregated into different stands of the open-air stadium and instead sat next to each other. When they tried to flee their attackers, it triggered a stampede, resulting in 43 deaths. But it's interesting to note that not much can have been done after this disaster. After just 10 years later, South Africa suffered another incident involving the same two teams. These two disasters only served to heat the tensions between the two clubs, and it is the second biggest derby in Africa behind the Cairo derby.